Your family spent $235 more at the gas pump last month, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. Fertilizer for American crops has jumped 40% in just 4 weeks. Diesel, the fuel that moves literally everything, just hit $5.62 a gallon, up nearly 50% since February. And on April 26th, the US Postal Service is about to charge you 8% more to ship anything. Here's the part nobody's talking about. This isn't just a gas price problem. It's a hidden tax on your groceries, your packages, your airline tickets, and your Amazon orders. The Iran war opened a single crack in global oil supply, and that crack is now spreading to every part of your wallet. We're going to trace this hidden war tax through 6 different ways you're already paying more. Let's go. Before February, you knew the approximate price of gas. It was stable, predictable. Then Iran attacked a US military base. The US responded, and Iran did something that changed the global oil market overnight. They closed the Strait of Hormuz. What's the Strait of Hormuz? It's a 21-mile bottleneck between Iran and Oman. 1/5 of the world's oil passes through that narrow waterway every single day. Let me repeat that. 20% of global oil supply. One strait, 20%. When that strait closed, oil tankers couldn't get out. The International Energy Agency called it the largest supply disruption in the history of the global oil market. Not the largest disruption this decade, the history of the global oil market. Your gas bill didn't just go up because oil got scarce. It went up because every single thing that moves oil and every single thing that moves goods now costs more money, and that bill is getting passed to you. Let's start with what you've already felt. Gasoline. The national average is $4.11 a gallon right now. That's 38% higher than it was in February, before the Strait of Hormuz closed. For the average American driver, that's $235 extra per year. But here's where it gets worse. Gasoline is the least of your problems. Diesel, the fuel for trucks, tractors, construction equipment, and every shipping vessel in the world is up 50%. Diesel hit $5.62 a gallon last week. Why does diesel matter more than gas? Because you don't drive a diesel truck. But the truck driver who brings you your groceries does. The farmer who grows your vegetables does. The construction crew building new homes does. Every single one of those diesel price increases gets passed to you. Jet fuel spiked 95%. 95%. United Airlines alone says this war will cost them $11 billion in extra fuel expenses. That's why Delta added $10 to checked baggage fees. That's why airline tickets are about to get more expensive. You're going to pay $50 to $100 more for your next flight. Here's the pattern. Fuel goes up, transport costs go up, and every single business passes that cost to customers. That's you. On April 26th, the post office is adding the first ever fuel surcharge in its history, 8%. That means a priority mailbox that costs $25 will cost $27. A parcel that costs $40 will cost $43.20. But that's the slow-moving part of the story. FedEx already added a fuel surcharge, 26.5%. Not 8, 26.5. Amazon is adding a 3.5% seller surcharge. Why do you care about seller surcharges? Because they get passed to you. Amazon sellers paying 3.5% more have 3 options. Absorb the cost, raise your prices, or stop selling on Amazon. Most will choose option 2. That's your price increase on Amazon. Here's what's happening right now, this very week. Every company that ships anything is doing the math. They're checking their margins. They're deciding what items are now too expensive to ship. Some companies are exiting entire product categories. That means by May, you'll see products disappear that used to ship for free. You'll see minimum order quantities go up. You'll see ships in 3 to 5 business days change to ships in 7 to 10 business days. Because fuel just ate their profit margin. Now we get to the part that's going to shock your grocery bill. The Persian Gulf, that region right next to the Strait of Hormuz, produces 49% of the world's urea exports. Urea, that's the nitrogen fertilizer that grows your corn, your wheat, your soybeans, your vegetables. The same region produces 30% of the world's ammonia. When oil spiked, urea prices didn't just go up, they exploded. In the last 4 weeks, urea is up 35 to 40%. And hydrous ammonia, the other critical fertilizer, is now above $1,000 per ton for the first time since 2023. This is the hidden tax that hasn't fully hit your wallet yet, but it's coming. Here's the timeline. Farmers are about to make their spring planting decisions. They're looking at fertilizer costs that have jumped 40%. Some farmers will respond by using less fertilizer. That means smaller crops. Smaller crops mean less supply. Less supply means higher prices at your grocery store. The USDA was already projecting a 3.1% increase in food prices before this war even started. Now add the fertilizer shock. Now add higher diesel for farm equipment. Now add higher fuel for transportation. When does this hit your grocery store? Not May, not early June, late summer and fall. That's when your tomatoes get more expensive. That's when your bread gets more expensive. That's when your chicken gets more expensive because chickens are fed corn that got more expensive. This is the private equity liquidity moment for big agriculture companies. They're about to have record profits as food prices spike, but you're the one paying that bill. Let me show you the compounding effect. Diesel up 50%, fertilizer up 40%, transportation up 8 to 26%, crop yields potentially down. All of that hits the grocer, all of that hits your receipt. The USDA projects 3.1% overall food inflation, but that's before the fertilizer shock. Real food inflation, more like 5 to 8% by fall. That's an extra $500 to $1,000 on a family's annual grocery bill. Here's the thing about supply shocks, they compound. When oil is expensive, energy companies charge more for heating and electricity. When transportation is expensive, logistics companies charge more for shipping. When fertilizer is expensive, farmers pass costs to food companies. When food is expensive, restaurants pass costs to you. But here's what really matters. The Federal Reserve is watching all of this. The FOMC minutes are coming out today, and everyone is waiting to see if the Fed is worried about inflation. They are, and when the Fed gets worried about inflation, what do? They raise interest rates. Higher interest rates mean higher mortgage payments, higher auto loan payments, higher credit card rates. So your hidden war tax isn't just about gas and groceries, it's about the interest you're paying on everything. Because when inflation spikes, the people with money move it into inflation-protected vehicles. Because when inflation spikes, the people with money move it into inflation-protected vehicles. Regular Americans get hit twice, once by higher prices and again by higher interest rates. That $235 extra at the pump, that's just the beginning. Here's what you need to do this week. First, lock in your energy plans. If you have a variable rate electricity plan, switch to fixed. If you're about to buy a house, lock that mortgage rate this week. The Fed is about to get serious about inflation. Second, check your grocery budget. Food inflation is coming. It hasn't hit yet in most of the country, but it will by fall. If you use frozen vegetables or canned goods, buy in bulk now before prices spike another 5 to 10%. Third, know what's in your portfolio. Energy stocks and fertilizer companies are about to print money. If you have exposure there, you might want to rebalance. This is venture capital exit strategy thinking. Understand who wins and who loses in the next 6 months. The Iran war didn't just raise gas prices, it triggered a chain reaction that's going to reshape your wallet for the next 2 quarters. Most people won't see it coming until they're paying $4.50 for a pound of chicken. But now you know. Stay informed, click subscribe.